can't, nor can Broken Blade. Decimating smash down, that is first blood. There's Ignite, Heck Flash over the wall to help out, but Mikyx one more auto away. Sheo flashes over, trying to help out his jungler as Labrov now dies as well. 4 kills and he's able to give us more!
Okay, just run.
Jinx is flash, no?
Yeah, Jinx was some.
Let's all take a deep breath now, guys, okay? Like, game is simple, don't stress.
Yeah, I think he's winning.
Go.
I'll fly. Help me. Yeah, Sjokz can't hit right now. I mean, Azir can't hit right now.
G2 hits first in this best of 5 and is 1-0 up over Team BDS. But we saw something that I remember from way back when. Lane swaps are back. Apparently. Why?
I think it's super interesting to see what they did, right? And it's very clear to me that G2, they had a very clear plan with the draft that they wanted. They had so much scaling on the side versus such a potent early game that BDS had drafted with the Varus, Ashe, and Volibear. They really needed to find a way to mitigate that potency and ensure their scaling.
So I think what's really cool about this is not only that G2 came in with a plan, but BDS was prepared as well. And if we look at the clip right here, you can see BDS walking in level 1 to place vision in the enemy jungle. It's probably something G2 has been practicing in scrims, to be honest. It's a pretty common strategy from back in the day with Sion, with a weaker bot lane. And BDS, they walk in to get the deep vision, they defend their own jungle, knowing that Sion is probably going to stick around and try to go for the invade. And them being one step ahead was so huge for the early game, because in a perfect world for G2, they pull off the invade, Sion can just secure the red side quadrant for his jungler, he TP spot, and all of a sudden 3 sides of the jungle are secured for them. But obviously it didn't matter, and you know, everything ended up being a little bit chaotic from this point, but you could just see BDS from the get-go 1 step ahead, and G2, they didn't really know how to respond after this happened.
Yeah, and I do think that the big thing was, something to keep in mind, the bot lane could have gone even worse, and this kind of play mitigated that potential dive that we were going to get from the Varus Ashe, which usually translates into a lot of poke, and the 2v2 being very, very difficult, was then kind of muddled up, and it just turned into chaos, so that whilst the Varus was 2-0, the entirety of the bot lane for Hansama in the Jinx Lulu lane wasn't that far behind. They were just 0-0-0, and it was only the Sion that was dying.
We weren't there yet, though. There's a lot that happened also. I saw an Aatrox in the bot lane. Like, can you tell me what happened after that initial skirmish and why they decided to make the decisions they did?
So after the immediate fighting that starts level 1, everything becomes a little bit crazy, and people just have to cover all lanes to make sure they get the golden experience. But what we saw from G2 is that the moment they could match recalls between the bot lane and between Broken Blade and the Sion, they base at the same time. Jinx, Lulu goes top and starts taking plates. Worth noting, Lulu had Demolish, so they could take the tower even faster. So they take 2 plates, base, do the same thing. Mikyx and Hansama walks out mid from base. The moment they see Aatrox being top lane, they realize, okay, we can do this again. So they go 2v1 versus the Aatrox, take another 2 plates, and all of a sudden the bot lane that should have been really far behind from laning versus Varus and Ashe is now, well, I was about to say in a great position, but unfortunately for them, Varus went 2-0. So they were, close to even when it could have been a really brutal early game.
You guys loved watching this, I feel like, from a strategic standpoint.
It was really interesting, and I absolutely love when I'm looking at this, like, what are they trading? How much gold are they actually trading between both side lanes? Because it's not normal. And in the end, what happened was G2 were trading plates evenly. By 6 minutes, you had 2 plates taken top, 2 plates taken bottom, and they were really using those trading tools with the Jinx extremely well.
I think what you need to keep in mind is that if you go for a draft as greedy as this one from G2, like, it's probably the most greedy draft I've seen the entire split, to be honest. You have to come up with a good plan of how to survive in the early game, and here it didn't go their way at all. Like, they had a pretty good strategy, but because BDS was 1 step ahead, it didn't work. And even then, even though they fell like 6-7k behind, because of the scaling, they came back and won in the end.
It was crazy to see. Of course, Aurelion Sol is just it's just Aurelion Sol. Also, we're going to be covering the draft here on the desk, so I'd love to pull up the draft. And can you kind of explain for newbies like me why this draft is so greedy into Team BDS's comp?
So right now, Volibear is the strongest early game jungler in the game. Varus, alongside Ashe, is probably the strongest 2v2 bot lane. And on G2's side, you go for Rel, strong team fighting, not particularly strong in the early game. Jinx, Lulu has no way of responding to the enemy bot lane. And I think in 4-5 is where G2 has to decide, are we going to pick something aggressive mid and top to make up for the weaknesses in especially bot lane, or do we just commit? And them picking Sion there showcases pretty clearly that they're committed. And I think they did it purely because of this strategy, purely because of the lane swap. And I think with that in mind, it was really, really smart. It's a shame that it didn't go perfectly for them because
but
BDS,
they still won, so...
yeah, because BDS were well prepared. But I think this is the cool part of a series, that you can do something unique and different. And even if it goes wrong, you can come in and play normally, or well, not normally, but you know, you can take a safe draft in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, what adaptations do you make? Do you deny the Sion now? And if you do that, do G2 have another thing up their hands, right? Can the strategy be played even with Sion being gone?
Well, BDS selected to go to the blue side. This is kind of new. We didn't see this happening mostly throughout yesterday either. So that means they definitely do want to switch it up, I would say, because if I was BDS, I would be pretty frustrated because, you know, you see that the strat is telegraphed and you actually fight against it really, really well in that early skirmish. And you kind of see the matrix, but not really. G2 still see it better, right? So I feel like it's a frustrating game to lose, knowing that you had at times the control. You had your Varus that could also take over games. You had the Azir that was actually doing quite well as well, but it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I wonder if because they had all the early game tools in the world and it still didn't work out, they just flip the switch, go back to the BDS of old, and they start picking Rakan, Zeri, Vi type champions again, where you have to scale up and give them some more leeway.
I think what's cool about this is that I expected the draft to be the opposite way, with G2 having more aggression, with them taking control of the early game and BDS being on the scaling side. And I think this is why BDS wants to go blue, taking control of the pace of the draft, and kind of, you know, make sure they get back to comfort.
Yeah, Eragon, actually, you were saying this the whole time. You're like, I'm so confused because you could switch to drafts, and I think that would be more expected.
And for that reason, that's why I thought champions like Volibear would be really high priority for G2. Not BDS, but it ended up being BDS taking it away. And there it is again.
Volley!
I think Volibear, especially now with Rel being out of the picture, is a very high power pick. G2 is going to have to decide whether they want to lock in the jungler immediately to respond, or if there's a bot lane duo that they want to secure. Now they could decide going for the aggressive bot lane, like, you know, the Varus and Ashe again, or they can just be confident in their scaling and abilities to survive early game. Worth noting that the only really, really strong early game AD carry that can shut down Jinx now is the Varus, because Kalista is banned, Draven is banned, Siri is out of the picture, so you cannot outscale her. And, well, it looks like there's a good chance G2 goes the same direction.
I mean, it's a hover so far. I think another prio pick here is the Azir. The problem is that if the BDS take it, Caps has the ASOL again, which is still up, right? So Caps could take it too, and then they have insane tower trading tools once again onto towers because of Jinx passive plus the way Azir functions. But Jack's Flex, that's something else that I was really thinking about coming into the series. I thought it'd be fantastic because it's really good into the matchup top lane, as well as the jungle in the isolated 1v1.
Yeah, I think there's a very high chance both of these picks, Volibear and Jax, are going to go into jungle. Jax often is a good response into Volibear because it's like the one champion that can actually match his pressure and fight back early game. G2 probably realized that coming into the second game that they were a little bit too scaling oriented and that they should in fact not have won the last game. BDS has snowballed a little bit more cleanly, and the draft is playing out in a similar fashion with BDS being heavy early game, but I do like G2's adaptation and making sure that they have some power as well.
Yeah, I think if you're G2 now, you want to hold R5 for BV. I would absolutely hate to blind pick into Adam. Even with bans, I think it can be an absolute disaster. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Darius and Olaf ban. I feel like that's just standard at this point, second rotation versus BDS, even though you do have Jax already locked in.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see what's going to happen to Aurelion Sol and whether BDS is going to let that open again. Caps has now played it a couple of times. He got a Penta last game when he played it last week. He, you know, got play of the series as well, looking absolutely incredible on this champion. So we'll see how it goes. Rek'Sai being taken away from Broken Blade. I think overall, just find a way to make sure that G2 doesn't do the same to you. Don't give them that kind of scaling. Don't give them that opportunity to just, well, basically play to survive and then win from 20 minutes onwards if they go near even.
Yeah, Orianna ban signals that they might be fishing for ASOL or Azir, because these are Orianna's pretty good into them in lane. They outrange, Orianna outranges, right? So that could be a fish, so we might see one of them banned. Rumble ban was to fish for Rek'Sai blind as well, potentially, because that is a really good matchup. That's one of the go-to counters into the Rek'Sai, so naturally BDS adapting and taking away. Now it's up to G2. Do they want to preserve the flex to R5? Or do they want to blind pick top here and give Caps counter pick?
If I was G2, I think with what we've seen out of them, knowing that Nuke is probably going to take Azir and giving Caps their really unsold counter pick, it would make a lot of sense to pick top despite it being up against Adam.
Nah, we're
G2 says
picking
no.
Taliyah.
They went for Taliyah. Taliyah is also pretty good into the Azir. One of Azir's biggest strengths is his early laning phase and the fact that he's very independent, self-sufficient. Taliyah is one of the champions that can actually match his pressure throughout the entire game. She's incredibly strong with Nautilus as well, because every time he CCs somebody, Taliyah follows with W and they one-shot.
If this is a Gragas blind pick, the best answers into Gragas blind pick are Aatrox and Gnar. Those are the go-to. They usually set a band in order to be able to pick Gragas. So I'm wondering if BB will pull that out there. He has been practicing a bunch of different stuff in solo queue as well, like the Twisted Fate, but that's banned. So I think it's probably going to be Aatrox R5 if their draft, which is very short range, is anything to go by.
I mean, maybe they just go Ahri top and
maybe like yesterday.
They watched yesterday. I don't think so.
So if this was a solo queue game, if I was on G2's side and if I would pick a top laner, I would lock in Olaf and just slam with this Gragas. I think Olaf looks fantastic into BDS is what the entire team
and Adam loves it. It's like adding insult to injury.
Yeah, pick Olaf
Come
versus
on,
Adam.
do it.
I think Aatrox is just the most standard blind, and we know that BB can take it away. But it's not going to be. It might be just the standard front to back of the Kazante. BB also
Don't doubt yourself. Oh, it's just
this is the classic G2.
It is, isn't it?
Play so many carries during regular split, but when playoffs come around, they tame him on duty.
But
Thunder.
they're one game up. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Just lock in something
Slam the
spicy.
Olaf.
Show your dominance. Dunk him in lane.
Exactly. Brox's words. But anyways, now that you see kind of the plans that both have come up with, you still have a fair bit of scaling again on G2's side. Will they be able to match on that side of Team BDS, and do you think they've given themselves the tools to?
I think this time around they have a lot more tools with Jax into the Volibear, with the Taliyah into Azir, and I think for G2 to have a bit more agency in the game and being able to fight back, this is a much greater middle ground. I think last game they relied on BDS making mistakes rather than them actually just, dominating on their own. Now they can also be fracked.
Yeah, I think bot lane can be volatile in a draft like this with the hook champion into the Lucian Nami. You also have mid push for G2, which can transition into going down bot side. The thing is that you also have the Volibear, which is incredibly proactive early. So I think this early game is going to be a little bit of a bloodbath, especially down bot side.
Oh, I love to hear it. A bloodbath in the early game. Yes, let's see it. Let's head over to our casting.
Let's hope. Let's hope the 2v2 is explosive in BDS's favor. Game 1 was taken from their grasp. It shouldn't have been. Guys, let them in. They've got beers. Don't spill it. As we get ready for game number 2, I mean, yeah, we might need a few because BDS held control. It should have been theirs. G2 did the classic G2 thing. And I like that the desk was talking about more tools here for G2. They don't have to wait for BDS to run into them. More proactive tools here coming into game number 2. Whereas BDS for that bottom side, even more explosive power. Now, Lucian, Nami, you've all heard it before in EU, in NA. There's been issues, let's be real. But our top teams can play it. Hansummer and Mikyx can also play it. So Ice and Labrov, hopefully, we get to see one of their successful games too. Dagda, game 1 is looking nothing like game 2. Because game 1...
we're in our actual lanes.
Yeah. We're not lane swapping. We're not looking for early invades. It's a standard fan. Just a quick reminder, if you're tuning in now, this series does not guarantee MSI for BDS. I know it's been said before, but for G2, they've already locked in MSI. They're just looking for their championship and, of course, first seed as well. Getting to that grand final would be huge. And again, cement the fact that G2 really are consistently the best team in the LEC. I mean, after game 1, we're already seeing some of the power of people like Caps. Saw a tweet coming from Casual saying, Caps just kind of runs this region, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he ran that last game as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, even I Will Dominate was tweeting, hey, how many teams would look amazing if Caps just jump ship to a different squad, but BDS, they have to try and get through G2, and they have to try and get through Caps, and especially when he's on the Taliyah. I agree with the desk. I think this is going to be something where he's able to play pretty heavily around this bottom side, and the key to winning this game as G2 is to shut down Ice and Labrov.
Yep.
Just put the cover to 2. He's playing quite aggro on the wave.
We trade from Labrov as well. Remember, the ebb and flow can bounce back and forth a couple times, not just a single. G2 pulling back from the lane while Ice and Labrov doing exactly what you'd expect out of the 2v2. As mid just fires a couple of shots at each other as well. We set up in this draft for the counter pick on top side for G2. We're like, oh, it could be anything. Broxer and Sjokz getting really excited, maybe like run Olaf into it. Eragon's like, no, I think the Aatrox here would be good. And then we get Cassante, which, let's be real, is probably the worst out of all three.
Yeah, look, Cassante does Cassante things, and we're well used to it at this stage. Sheo trying to do Volibear things, though, and find his success in the early stages. Going to go for the invade. Was spotted on several wards replaced by G2. So Yike very much aware that there is a bear in his jungle. I'm going to try and catch him out here.
Health bar is okay for Mikyx and Hantam, but remember they're only level 1. Labrov level 2 walking in to support his jungle. Yike hovering here. Will Caps do anything about it? Well, he's been poked out too, so it's just what you see is what you get as a miss smite. Sheo takes it off him. Yike could have had that, but now Mikyx with the re-engage by himself with Ignite down is hoping for the best, but he's just given first blood over to Ice. A bit of a whoopsie from Yike leads to a whoopsie from G2.
And Yike thought that maybe he could steal the blue and just ward hop away, so I can understand where Yike's position was coming from, but he ended up putting Mickey between a rock and a hard place. Now might have Hansama in a terrible spot as well as Ice. Won't be able to shove in this wave, so maybe won't be able to look for the dive on towards the Jinx, but still an early kill to this Lucian is exactly what BDS wanted.
It's rough. And again, when Ice has been able to take some leads, I mean, more so than not, he's been able to run the map a bit more. Let's just pause. Adam and Yike seeing each other here for the first time. Adam just zoning off on the top side scuttle. Yike being denied resources. Already a bit of a lead here from Sheo. Not only getting that blue buff, he'll get topside scuttle. He just picked up bottom as well. He's got his own top camp to clear, Dagda. And look at what Yike has up. A little bit of nothing. There's nothing there. There's so much for Sheo to get in this early lead, which, you know, like last game, even though it was a different matchup, Yike was falling behind CS as well. And in the jungle matchup, Sheo was taking over those individual leads in gold and level 2.
And this is something we got to see a lot at the start of winter was we're playing off of bot aggression into these invades and using the fact we have that bot prio to easily go for a lot of nuisance and causing a ruckus in the enemy jungle.
Yeah.
And you could easily try and go for a repeat here. You get the double scuttle here for BDS. Sheo can reset and then move into that bot side as the camps are respawning if he really wants to, as Ice can collect this wave, reset, and then be able to match that play. But I am kind of curious to exactly what the game plan is, because it actually looks like at the moment, with the way that Sheo is pathing, he wants to try and go and punish G2 potentially off this bot wave push, but also could just reset, go into his top camps, and maybe try and catch Broken Blade out.
Yeah, they might be setting up for a punish on bot side instead. Dredge line not connecting, maybe for the better. Sheo was just waiting for that overstep from G2's bottom lane to come in and set up BDS's just a little bit further. The wave is getting thinned out though. The power of Gragas in the top side and the counter punch needs to be noted that you still have a really good early wave clear, good sustain as well. And as the wave pushes in, Yike has just moved away himself. But although being spotted on a ward near mid and Caps, as they still think about it, Dagda, nevertheless.
They didn't spot Yike though, so Sheo gonna now see that at least Yike is up on this top side, so can imagine Caps is here. They need to try and keep his team safe. Caps will spot out the Sheo is here, and Nuke has started to roam, so G2 decide to call off the dive instead. They don't want to try and over-aggress there when Sheo's on this top side, so nice pathing from Sheo. We're kind of saying, hey, look, maybe you have a chance to try and play on bot side, but aware that Adam was probably going to need that help on the top end of the map as that wave started to crash. Won't get the Void Grubbed, but at least it stops Adam from falling behind in the matchup against Cassante.
Yeah, I wonder if Yike's going to take 2 or 3 here. Remember, we've seen a lot of plays throughout the split about adapting to the grubs. There's also, you know, the patch coming in that now heals them too. Makes it a little bit longer to take, but Yike is going to stick it out for all 3. Not worried about any tempo towards bot side, towards the Dragon anyway. It just gives him a bit more experience, a bit more of a punch back in when he's losing out in experience and gold again to Sheo.
That's the thing. He knows that none of his top camps are up, and you have to reset here as Ice to match the reset from Hansama, so you won't really get an invade opportunity really coming through to threaten those, so he just gets to move into his bottom side, clear that out, and then be able to reset to go top once more. So Caps, though, this is not the position that I think you want to be in.
You might have to flash over this. You see Sheo now flashes over the Emperor's Divide. Nuke gets stunned up. It's a good call, otherwise he was just dead again. As meanwhile on the bottom side, Labrov has overstepped. Ice was not here. Hansama's given a kill. I was about to say, BDS, your early game is looking as good as last one, but that overstep gives blood to Hansama.
Yeah, I think Labrov was like, okay, I'm going to try and play on Mickey, make sure that he can't reset. We have the item advantage coming into lane, but overstayed and overextended. I wasn't fully focused on it because I was looking at what Caps was up to, but yeah, just trying to force Mickey to stay on the map that little bit longer and gets caught out. We'll get a replay of it just here. So he saw that Mickey hadn't actually reset, and then the Hex Flash. And Labrov, doesn't quite get behind the wall as well. That's heartbreaking for Labrov, but Now, Ice
We
on
come
the
back
evade.
in. No level 6 here for the AD carries. Dredge line away, but Sheo's in. Look at his damage. Sky Splitter auto. Ice matches it, but in the end, it's Labrov to get it. As Hunsummer also flashes away, but culling is available. Ice is ready to lock him down. Acro Prison there. Stormbringer turns off the turret. Hunsummer is just dead doo-doo. Ice picks up yet another. And we are punishing mistakes all through this early game. It gives BDS an edge once again.
And nicely done by BDS to look for that again, just playing off the fact that they are stronger on this bottom side and you hadn't got those resets coming through properly. And because Yike has to try and help out, because Yike invests into Dragon, they know they just have the timer to go for this play as you just come off the reset. So push comes in the bot side. All they're really trying to do is prevent Hansama from being able to collect this wave, but with how low Mikyx is, not having that initial reset, he hasn't got any of those defensive stats on the Nautilus, so he falls relatively quickly. And now Hansama, he's hoping, praying that this Taliyah and Jax can get down to this bottom side, but they're nowhere near safe enough to keep him alive.
Second kill for Ice, by the way. Almost picked up a third, but Labrov was able to sneakily steal away. I think he didn't expect the damage on Mikyx, so he ended up flashing for that. But still, nevertheless, you've got a static shiv now picked up on this Lucian. Sheo now nearby again. And in on the Analyst desk, they said focus bot. That's exactly what BDS are doing, but Dagda, who's nearby?
Caps is here, has the Weaver's Wall.
Culling is there. Weaver's Wall is going to cut them off now for the range on Hunsummer. They separate Sheo from the rest of his team. Caps is in a 1v2, but the Death Rocket gets over the wall. Mikyx sacrifices his life, but will it be in vain? Yes, it will. Ice survives his third kill, even after Caps does the wear and tear.
And the fact that Nuke didn't have to join in means he's going to be able to push in mid. Won't be able to get a turret plate, but should be able to get a nice reset off himself if he really wants to. Although he's running Demolish, but yeah, I don't think he'll be able to get this, especially just spots Yike on that top side. So Yike now trying to respond with the cross
Gotta
map.
get something. Surely, right? I mean, G2 are falling behind 2k gold in this early game. Broken Blade going to take a turret shot. Not the end of the world, but Adam stops the dive here, picks up his coins on the ground. That skin absolutely slick. What is in the barrel? That's honey. That's honey Gragas or something, because something's going in on that barrel.
The mead.
Yeah, the mead, yes.
I think it's Vandal Gragas. Is it oh no, it's the new High Noon Gragas, isn't it?
Oh,
With the pink chroma.
Oh, hell yeah. Making skins for that champion must be the funnest thing. You put anything in there, no one will ever know. More importantly, you can't get taken away. It's only the top side that's not doing the best for BDS, but even then, you know, in the Gragas-Pisante matchup, whatever, right? Look at the goal in your scoreboard in the bottom of the screen. 1100 for Ice. He's running the region of the bottom lane this game.
BB.
BB gonna get
got
stuck
some
up to the
company.
bottom side. I mean, he's got Ghost available. All Out is there as well. As I said, BB was the only person ahead, but how much longer is that going to last? Under the turret plating, Ice is going to take one before they go for the engage. The Acro Prison perfect as well. Ice tanks up then, Labrov, but it doesn't turn onto a full-on dive. Meanwhile, on the top side, they commit. Explosive Kato separates. The minion wave still thin. The range from Hansummer to the rocket's good, but Mikyx has to sacrifice his life. Hans might get excited, but Nuke is now here to separate, turn, and burn. The Emperor's Divide is there, but Hans is still at the end of getting excited here. So G2 going for another one. Yike jumps in, gets a stun up. Nuke flashes away again as well. BB, by the way, died off screen. Nuke gets himself a grass proc. Hans doesn't get the kill. Caps does. We are starting to build up the pace yet again here in this game, while both teams are just cross-mapping for whatever.
Nuke didn't kill the minion wave with his ultimate, so Hansama is able to escape away from the turret aggro before he ends up tanking it. And
True.
that's where both BDS solo laners end up falling, but Nuke gets a ton of gold onto that bottom side, so it's kind of a big win for Ice if BDS are able to play around him. But a nice little bit of gold back into favor of Caps, especially with these Void Grubs going over as well. That's all 6 now to G2.
Yeah, he's the only one with a gold lead again over his counterpart. I was just talking about BDS running the early game. Speaking of which, though, G2 are going to get 6 grubs here yet again. How important is that going to be? If Hansummer's able to free hit turrets, then absolutely, but knowing how the state of the game is, Dagda, I mean, Ice is in control. We just talked about it. The dive goes through and eventually works out. BDS still have the early game gold lead here. Ice almost 2 items at 12 minutes is absurd. And no matter how cheap static Shiv is and the Lucian build path is, 2 items is absolutely absurd. And no one's going to be able to stand up to this Lucian Nami, and we're just talking about Lucian Nami in the West and how sometimes it can do nothing. I think it's impossible to do nothing when you have a lead like this and you're about to get first turret blood on said Lucian as well.
Well, the problem is Adam's about to die again.
Ah.
So
Gragas taking it all, I guess, and Caps coming through. There's good burn, but Mikyx Mikyx dies. They haven't finished the kill off yet. They reset turret aggro. Zap avoided. Hans takes 2 on the way out. This is not clean. Nuke coming through. Hans under turret now in threat again. Nuke comes in for round 2 of the same robbery. They get the kill eventually as Yike is coming through. This might turn into a repeat dive. No flash available for Nuke. Is he coming into his death? Seismic shove there. Zap as well. Yike gets the kill and flashes away as the tidal wave from Labrov couldn't help out. We continue to dance and G2 get in the turret top side. Claw something back. Even Broken Blade bot Dagda is getting some turret plating as well.
This is insane. Both sides trading on opposite sides of the map so consistently, and this time, hang on.
Can be used. Adam just used his ult topside defending the turret. He TP'd down here, but Broken Blade is out of range. Adam gets away, thankfully, because that would have been so huge if he got caught out.
Now both sideline towers are down. You're still, thanks to the kills that have gone over specifically to the Lucian, you do have a massive advantage on the AD carry, but Adam tries his damnedest to get away from this. Mikyx tries to tank up for as long as he can, but the ultimate coming through, that little bit too late for Mikyx to escape away. He ends up falling. And then here, Hans doesn't want to be the one to tank the tower, so he ends up stepping away. Caps then doesn't get the angle on the Q, so he has to step away and doesn't get the flick back. But with the flash from Hans Sama, Nuke not having flash because he just burnt it in the previous dive, isn't quite able to find those kills back. So it's a little messy, but still, you're going to see 1,000 gold lead there for Caps. At 1.5 for Ice having just completed that second item.
Yep.
So BDS going to try and use that control of the mid lane to get this mid lane turret now with Lucian and Nami there, but also lean in towards Rift Herald in just a moment to pick that up as well.
I guess it's just about what you put more faith in, because G2 have obviously said the game plan is Caps move to top. Caps keep moving and keep getting the kills. I mean, it's more to it than that, isn't it? Caps is in charge again. It's not in the Aurelion Soul, but it's definitely a champion that can carry through in the mid game versus Ice on this Lucian. And as we get towards the Herald, as we get towards teams moving up, now we get a play again. Culling into Mikyx, he flashes away. Flash away from their engage tool big as BDS get control.
But Nuke is now leaning across. That's all they wanted, was to get Mikyx out of the equation, because now they've got the numbers advantage that they need to try and take Rift Herald and set themselves up for that. Nuke going to move back into the top lane to catch this wave. The Caps pushing in, but I don't know, BDS, they don't feel like the speed isn't there. This is where they should immediately be going for it, but because it's a Hex Tech Rift, I should say, Mikyx's now back out onto the map, so BDS missing their window. You do have Lucian pushing in mid, so we will have to have Hans Sama collect that wave, but you don't really have as many tools now with Ice burning that culling to essentially get Mikyx on a quick trip back home.
Very least with BDS, we'll be picking this up. Rocket's going to go astray. Sheo picks this one up. Okay. A Herald to bust open one of these side lanes, maybe, or mid, we should say. Looks like BDS could move this plan in immediately. Ice has a lot of wave clear. Sheo being very patient. Mikyx going to be spotted on a ward. Yike as well on a ward. But G2 are like, hang on a minute, we're going to bait them in. Caps comes in once more. Sheo locked up against said wall as the poke comes through. He Stormbringer's out while Ice and Labrov can't get in the fight. Kiting away, almost getting hooked in by Mikyx. Was huge as Nuke now joins in as well. Sky Splitter for a bit of extra poke as G2 holds strong as a 4-man unit. Note, top laners are not here. It's only Broken Blade with a TP, and Adam can't join in. If this turns into something more while we A-Ram, once again, like game one.
Ice's movement was clean there. Baiting out the hook from Mikyx, making sure that they actually couldn't push forward as the G2 duo into picking off Sheo, because Ice was always threatening the all-in, so they can't really go forward, and dodging that hook as well means that at least Sheo will be able to burn his ult, but get out of that. And we go back to pretty bog standard. Reset comes through for the Lucian, picks up that BF sword. They're still going to try and plonk him in towards the mid lane. But I think you need now to be in a position where Nuke can push out, or Adam can push out a side lane and group onto this mid lane tower, threaten the Jinx, threaten a dive. But with Sheo not having that ultimate and Dragon in a minute's time, I think it's going to be a Dragon split here for G2 where they gift it. But actually it's just Hans Sama on the tower.
Yep.
So BDS, there's the group up that we wanted.
It's going to open things up, move back to that 2k gold margin, and while we do talk about Dragon, a quick note, Hans Sama with no flash available, but that should be up in about 45 seconds. Perfect timing for the Dragon contest, especially when we're seeing tools like Nuke really dive towards him in the backside. And we know that Nuke is going to be a big part to play here on this Azir in separating, turning, and burning. Getting down one target as quickly as possible. Onto Mikyx again, Culling comes through, the damage amplified, Mikyx dead! Ice with his 4th kill. That's what you want to see out of your Lucian Nami.
That's exactly what you need them to do. bursting down Mikyx so consistently ahead of these objectives. And this, oh, Labrov, don't get caught yourself now, mate.
Bruh.
But going to be able to walk on out. But you got the play that you wanted. Now you've got the numbers advantage for the Dragon. But again, Mikyx has the Hex Tech gates, going to be able to make his way back out. It's more about, hey, we bought time now for Nuke to push in on this top side. So let's see if we can drag Caps up there. I may need him to TP in as well. Caps actually not going to go up towards top side. G2 want this fight.
Want to fully force it, as you said, though. Nuke can join in. Good aqua prison. There's the wall to come through as well. Sheo going to Stormbringer out. The tidal wave zones off all four, but the explosive cast and the nuke indeed. But it ain't the mid laner of BDS. It's the nuke from Hans, Summer, and Caps. Man, where did they go, Dagda?
And they just got absolutely destroyed by the AoE damage coming through from G2, and Nuke even TP to the mid wave. So he's putting pressure on the top lane tower, but he forgoes it because he sees the disaster that BDS had of the Dragon. And G2, they get everything off the back of it.
Weaver's walls have been a pain, but more than that, you just see two members dissipate. Ice giving a shutdown over as well, over to Caps, I believe. Yike picked up one of them, but we'll see in the replay, like, again, it doesn't matter what champion it is, does it? As Broken Blade gets the turret on the bot side. Adam can't defend that. Just waiting for this replay. Here it is. Let's watch again.
And initially I thought the wall was actually going to help out Sheo. It splits him from the rest of G2, but Cap sends himself on over. Or never mind.
Never mind. We don't need to look because Nuke might just die. He accepts his fate. Sun turret's up. Mikyx with the perfect hook. Zap is there. Ulti burn, but Hans Sama says it's my turn indeed. G2 open themselves up a kill. No Baron in the top side though, Dagda, but Hans Sama catching back up.
And now they're going to be able to take that wave that's about to come in and push on for the tier 2. So Sheo immediately going to go towards that. And you're just not going to have the support you need here.
I'm concerned again. Game 1 was a bit of a flip and BDS made a mistake in a team fight with a big gold lead. This game has been slightly more concerning earlier on because G2 keep finding trades. And we haven't had that crazy lane swap, but we got trades all the same. Caps is such a big threat. 2.5k gold over Nuke, who's had a bit of a quiet game. He's been bullied trying to move to these top lane plays. But when G2 run mid game in this region as well, it's such a powerful champion who now just picked up Rabadons, by the way, as I blink again. And Caps' ability to move around the map is going to be something where I think we're going to start talking about to see if Ice is going to be able to predict, find picks of his own, and actually be as useful as we set up this big 3-item Lucian himself to be.
The problem is that Caps, for BDS, is that Caps is entirely self-reliant in that regard on the impact he can have. He can move around with the Weaver's Wall, he can catch people out, he's great wave clear, so he can immediately group up with Nuke. And if he wants to, cool, Yike and Mikyx can come and join him like we're seeing at the moment. When you look at Ice, though, he's heavily reliant on other people to do the things he wants to. Needs Labrov in position. Wants Sheo to be there as well to threaten dives, to set up for plays, but we just haven't really seen Sheo grouping up with Labrov and
Nuke. Wave culling onto Hans Sama. Look, he takes all the damage. Sheo gets to the back line. Sky Splitter, Hans Sama down. Now Stormbringer brings Yike to the ground. BDS with 2 big picks. Broken Blade came in late, but it's a setup from Lucian. Nami, if you're reliant on Labrov, no bloody problem.
And that's what exactly they needed to do. Get the rest of the team with Ice. And he grabs him by the scruff of the neck, says, let's bloody go, lads. And now Baron is on the cards. You have no jungler. Reeve gone low, gone down.
Body slam and a barrel roll, an explosive cast, and another one hits the ground. Ice picks up yet another. BDS on the Baron. It's only Caps and Mikyx, but as Dagda said, there ain't no smite, and G2 are gonna have to be polite. 3k, down it goes, and BDS swing it back. This ain't gonna be a sure thing for G2.
That was such a huge play for BDS to get. The fact that they're actually able to get work with Ice and Labrov, catch G2 as they're trying to find that momentum in towards the mid lane and get the Baron off the back. That's a massive, massive swing. And again, this is how you play around a Lucian Nami. Get the team there. Immediately that wave from Labrov, great onto Hans Sama. And Yike tries to save Hans Sama by going in, but it means he just gets the end of the culling, gets the business end of those bear claws. And then BB has to try and force BDS away. He knows that this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back in this game. But he just can't get in. There's so much disengage, so much slows from Adam. And they're buying the space that they need for Ice again to get the damage onto BB.
And Caps is dead. Okay, well, feeling the reels a little bit from what was a very unsuccessful fight from G2. but the success from BDS. Let's quickly talk as Mikyx might be caught out. Acro Prison behind in case he turns away, but he was still CC'd up. Zap there as well. Caps with a good seismic shove back. Stormbringer out of the way. Wait, BDS, you're too deep. I'm about to compliment you. Stop it. Getting excited as Hunsummer and Sheo. Ice, run away. G2 might be low, but they're not forgotten here as the ultimate comes through. The Weaver's Wall says to Sheo what nothing else could. You go nowhere. A shutdown as Broken Blade zones them off. Hexgate rig using so well. Going into brush. BDS don't know. Ice walking in, thinking, hang on a minute, where's this guy? The all-out burn. 1 versus 3, Broken Blade. I respect the grind, but now I know your story. Baron is still there for BDS to get away.
But G2 still got to hustle. Dragon is up. 3 dragons would be on the cards here for G2 if they can get that one. TP immediately from Nuke onto the bottom side of the map, but I think this has been the problem. So many times you've seen BDS trying to push forward, but Nuke hasn't been in a position to join the team. They're playing for the scaling on Nuke. When you've got the Lucian strong enough, just try and play for that pick. Now, separate again. Nuke one side, Adam one side. Ice is going to be zoned off by Mikyx and Caps. You need to link your players.
1K, Dragon's down. BDS still thinking about it. Nuke has flash, but they're out of range for now. Adam says the same. So, sole point for G2. BDS still in control. They've not gotten too much with the Baron, but 1,500 gold, as Freak would say, that's the base play of Baron, where everyone gets the individual gold. As they now try and push with the last couple of seconds of a 30 to be precise. Sun turret goes up as well, waiting for the last wave to see if they can get in a turret and get that extra leap forward here for their mid game.
This is a nice wave from Labrov, just owns away the members of G2. And they're just going to try and use the last of that Red Bull Baron power play. You can see it just ticking off there to at least get something on the map for themselves. They're going to start to set down vision in this bottom side jungle, so at least Nuke can continue to put pressure onto this bottom side. But again, I think you need to be slightly more coordinated here for BDS. Too often they're trying to play for Nuke's advantages where you already have the advantage with Ice. It should be kind of, hey, Nuke gets the benefit when Ice has that pressure in mid, rather than trying to play for Nuke on a side lane.
It's almost 2 items, by the way. At least we've seen the Seeker's Armor Guard come out. It is large attached, but we'll see where that goes. On the other side, Caps picked up the Seekers just as I was speaking there. Remember, he does have the individual advantage. Still up 1,500 gold. Speaking of which, Ice 2,000. I'm talking about these leads because these are the carries. Ice, if he dies in the fight, maybe makes things a lot harder for BDS. We know that naturally Hunsummer on this Jinx needs to get to 3 items. 2 and a bit there. Hunsummer still dying at this point. Big for BDS. But Caps as well, his burst cannot be underestimated. Pivotal tools when BDS are still trying to fight for a game. Last split in winter, you might recall, it was a 3-0 in this same upper bracket. G2 wiped the floor with BDS. We're going to question, is it going to be the same deal? Well, so far it feels like BDS have had a lot more to say, and I think especially coming from this split where, you know, again, we're hyping up some of these underdogs. Teams like, you know, BDS, Vitality, people who we know can run either lower brackets or be in that top 4 upper echelon. We want to see them stand tall to G2. I'm going to say this is an outside source, Dagda. We don't want to be a one-team region, you know? Not that we are. We've had G2 Fnatic in the past, but we want to see these teams walk up to the caliber. Here in Game 2, it's still a 4K gold lead. Still talking about BDS, and still talking about how they're going to set up for this Baron in a minute 15.
Yeah, I think it's just to see the growth from BDS. We have seen them put the work in over the course of these last 2 splits, playing for side lanes, understanding macro, how to try and play to the map, and they've been trying desperately to match G2 for so much of these early games, and it has worked for BDS in the early stages. Now, when you get into the thick of the jungle, when it gets to that mid-game, that's really where you have to have your wits about you, and Yike has immediately jumped on to Sheo.
He's got Sundered Sky. He just picked up his 2nd item, so feeling strong. Sheo with his 3rd, by the way. He's a full tank pair with the Sundered Sky attached. But BDS, after pushing G2 away, have themselves the Baron to play for in 35 seconds. Dragon separated as a timer. BDS controls Sun Turret mid. And G2 are just scattering away for the time being. 4 items now, by the way, on Ice. I should mention that 3rd item for Hunsummer just picked up on this Jinx as well.
Yeah, Ice is still very, very strong. And as you say, an entire item ahead, so you can't really push forward as G2 in towards Ice. He still will have a lot of one-shot potential. And someone will say, like, Mikyx, yes, you got the Aegis and the Wharton's Mail coming through, but if you're tanking that full culling, you're going to know all about it.
Flash, Mikyx. Oh, wow, pick. Actually, it's onto Ice. Step charges there. This is what we said need to be picked. Labrov and Ice have been tagged away, but no one from G2 can get nearby. Caps ran forward. He's going to get tagged out as well as the all-out from Broken Blade is disengaged. Sheo is unstoppable. BDS. Nice pick onto Mikyx after G2 initiated.
Adam was standing on that pink ward that BB just cleared, so when Mikyx went for the play, he didn't know there was a Gragas waiting in the bush. A double body slam onto Caps, onto Yike, prevents the follow-up. And BDS now go towards the Baron. Looks like there's going to be Dragon control for G2 in trade, or maybe the TP into bottom from Caps actually. They want the tier 2 tower.
Yike just spots them out. Baron recall's going to come in fast. G2 need this mid lane turret. It's 28 minutes in the game and they still don't find it. Dagda, what do you see?
It's an Adam TP directly into behind the Caps. Adam can interrupt.
Oh no, the wall comes first. The seismic shove doesn't connect either, though. Explosive cast dodged away from G2. Coming to help out the legendary mid laner. As BDS are coming to help out the legendary top. Spinning the wheel here. He's on this Jax against the wall. Sheo can't move. He flashes away to get out as Mikyx now rejoins in the fray. 5 versus 5 on the bottom side. As Dragon's 5 seconds away and BDS have taken a shocking amount of damage.
Flash from Sheo though, and the ult from Adam is completely gone. This has to be fought. And Sheo's gone so low. Nuke stepping up. He wants to see if he can make the hero play, but they need Ice to get the damage with the culling.
After picking up nothing in the side lane, after having no interest there, BDS are like, let's 5v5. But Nuki has Flash and ulti available. Sheo on the Dragon, immediately at 5k. Denying the salt from G2 is a must here for BDS to find a win as Mikyx stops the culling. Death charge up as well. Explosive cast separates G2 though, and they can't kill Ice. The damage is so far away. It's Ice again with a triple, and BDS deny the soul, find the fight. It just feels like they're too damn strong to deal with.
Nuke went for the shuffle, and both of the carries on G2 flashed away, but it meant that Ice was left untouched. He could focus down BB, he could turn onto the members of G2, and now they can turn their attention to this bot lane tower. The Baroned up minions are going to do work against these structures.
I think we questioned at the start of the year with this 80 carry change, what would the new BDS look like? From winter, we got some kind of idea. From spring, we continue to develop an idea. But Ice being the core carry in this game, we are starting to realize the talent in this young man and what it's bringing to the table.
And you can see here, Nuke is setting up. He wants to try and get access to Hansam and Caps. He goes over the wall, gets the Emperor's Divide, but Caps and Hansam flash away. But the thing was, he bought the space he needed to for Ice, because that follow-up could have been devastating. The goes Golden to buy more time. They kill Mikyx, they kill BB, and there's no front line left for the carries of G2, and now G2 in their topside jungle. BDS trying to set up onto the top lane tier 2.
Be a dive. Stormbringer makes it so easy. Inner turret zoned away. G2 thinking about hex flashing, but it's just Mikyx who goes backwards instead. Yike moving in, Broken Blade moving in, looking to defend. How far can BDS push this to finally take a game off G2 this year in a BO5? It's looking real good. It's a 10k gold lead. Soul was denied in that last play. The Baron power play from Red Bull is 5,500 in their favor, and next is the base to crumble in front of their eyes.
Few flashes left on BDS, so if someone gets caught, that could be the end of it.
Wave's
G2,
cleared.
get rid of the wave. Still doubling cannons here. Will start to chip away at this turret. Adams moved mid. Is this Caps is feeling like he can go?
Oh, out of range. Broken Blade taking up for the time being. Nuke's damage insane though, even with 2.5 items. Broken Blade getting cullinged as well, unstoppable, but now shielded behind. Yike, who also goes to half HP. Inhibitor turret gonna go down. Caps running for his life from Adam. Trying to defend too, but Adam's so tanky. Taking up explosive cast eventually hits Caps. Goes Golden. Explosive bomb that flies through. Won't matter either as Cripploon heals them up. Caps gets chased to the end of the earth. It's revenge for last game, Dagda, and BDS are serving this red hot.
You have nothing left here. Hansama needs to try and clear the wave, but just can't quite get it. Now we'll get a couple of auto attacks, so the wave will be cleared. BDS just want to try and rotate up to get this top lane inhibitor while it's still a 4 versus 5. They won't be able to end here, but they got so much in the base of G2.
What an achievement it would be to run this a 1-on-1. You're right at death's doorstep, at least G2's death in game number 2. Broken Blade tanking up for the time being. ISO not afraid to step forward with the GA. Nuke now setting up the bottom wave as they're going to break all 3 parts of this base.
They need to buy time for Caps. 7 seconds until the G2 mid laner is back up, but BDS are just going to back away. There is a TP ward just behind them if they
Where
really
is
want
it?
to try and overextend, but
Oh, but they're going for Mikyx instead. Don't worry about it, because Death Chart's going to be used on Dice. Remember, he has GA, gets flicked back by Caps. It's nice as he goes into the GA for BDS, trying to finish the job. Adam with a double body slam might have done it. Nuke helps out as well. Meanwhile, on the backline, Yike's doing all he can to slow this aggression, but it's Nuke's story from this team fight we're going to focus on. As Sheo runs down his counterpart, BDS will do the final touch, and it's not just a case of G2 finding a comeback. BDS still hit hard with their team fights. They still came here to play, and we're going the distance in this series as we find ourselves sitting in a 1-for-1. Scores be damned, curse be damned. BDS are here, Dagda. They're here in this upper bracket final.
BDS will deliver G2 their first loss in the Spring 2024 playoffs. And honestly, what a manner to do it in. Ice has been incredible across the course of these two games. And this time on the Lucian Nami, getting BDS to play around them, getting the picks that they need, and finding the objectives to close out this game.
Well, G2 being tested and BDS finally on the board. We're one apiece here. Trying to find out who goes to the grand final. Game 3, right after this.
Hey, Law.
Yeah?
I need a bit of help with styling since I'm new here, and I was wondering if I could show you a couple of outfits.
Yeah, sure.
Amazing, thank you so much. I'll be right back. I'm a porro snack. Get it?
I don't know, man.
No, not really.
I don't know, Law. It's hopeless.
No, it's gonna be fine. Here, let's have a break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Back to the drawing board then, I guess.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
Red Bull gives you wings.